Okay, I, with my definitely very legal authority, command this individual, Insanity YT, to step forward and give his testimony today. Thank you, Judge. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome back to another video. Today, I bring to you a story of injustice, of incompetence, a story that takes place on the biggest bedrock SMP. Well, the biggest private bedrock SMP anyways. This is Soulforge. It's pretty much just your average bedrock SMP with it actually has bedrock PvP. Anyways, this isn't a tale about the actual SMP though, it's a tale about its moderation system. You see, a couple days ago, I made a video, basically on my life leading up till I was 12. Talked about spiritual things, talked about why it made me certain that God is real and that his name is Jesus. Christian stuff. But also plenty of juicy lore tidbits about me. I really like talking about myself because maybe I'm a narcissist. I might be a bit of a narcissist, guys. I don't know. Can you be a narcissist while also considering yourself to be, like, garbage? I don't know. But anyways, that's not the reason why I posted it, though. I just enjoy, talking about my life and stuff because I find it entertaining and enjoyable talking about funny stuff, more, interesting stuff. Sharing my experiences. I get that's not narcissism, right? I don't know. Whatever. Ill buff. Anyways, the actual issue today comes from when I advertised it, like I would any other video, and I advertised it on the Soulforge Discord. The problem comes up when this man, the head moderator, DeSweeney, deleted my advertisement, then proceeded to threaten me with getting points if I continue to talk religious stuff. I was quite offended by this. Like, it didn't really matter. I didn't think very many people would come from actual Soulforge private Discord. And since, actually, he did delete it on the public as well, which I am kind of offended by. It's kind of very annoying. But, I only noticed it on private, so I wasn't that angry. I just, started talking about how, like, this was dumb. I should be allowed to talk about this stuff. Stuff I've talked about ever since Season 2, that freedom of speech should just be allowed. I didn't care that much for politics anymore, but now my religion was being called into question. Well, not called into question, but my religious talk was being questioned as well. And this is where I get angry, because I am willing, to some degree, to back down on political beliefs, but I would rather die than back down on my religious beliefs. So naturally, I didn't back down. And I got server muted for an hour. I mean, I actually did. I was about to back down, because I saw no more merit in this argument that I was having. Because no one was listening to me anyways. So I just was like, you know what, screw it, I'm ending the conversation. And then DeSweeney was like, he replied to an older post and was like, okay, bro, time out. Like, bro, what? I ended the conversation. You can't just server mute me for an hour after I quit. What the frick? So I waited for an hour and came back, started complaining about that too, talking more freedom of speech and stuff. And then I got server muted for another hour, which was also kind of irritating. In addition, DeSweeney gave me 70 points for discriminating against multiple religions because I said my beliefs were correct, which is of course something I would say because I'm absolutely certain of that. Like, I am absolutely going, like, I don't just say this because I'm like mean or something. I just say it because I'm absolutely certain of it. I know I'm arrogant about it sometimes. That's more of a personal defect. I try not to be arrogant, but I have a hard time not being arrogant. This is something I pride myself on, knowing and researching and stuff. So I was definitely arrogant about it. But DeSweeney, so because I said mine was right, he took that as, oh, you're saying every other religion is wrong. That's an insult. I'm going to give you 70 points, which isn't even the amount on the board for discrimination. You're only supposed to get 40 points. But, you know, the moderation team kind of has just decided we're going to give you however many points we feel like. Because this server, its rules are only really freaking guidelines. It's not rules. What? You thought they were rules because it said they're rules in the tab? Nah, we're going to give you however many points we feel like. So I was naturally very ticked off about that. So, you know, I just kept talking, and eventually I got server muted for an hour, and then DeSweeney had to go. He got his friend Z to back him up. And, you know, I came back after the next hour was up, and then Z threatened me. It was like, don't you start. You're going to get freaking banned or something if you keep this up. So I was like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll stop, because I didn't want to get banned. So, you know, I chilled out for like a day after that. And even more irritating was the fact that some people, only really Death Note I feel like, defended me. And then DeSweeney proceeded to also say that if I got unmuted before my time was up, he would also demod people, despite my modding, by the way, being against the rules. But I'm going to get into laws and stuff later. But, you know, naturally, I kind of got really, really angry at DeSweeney for this, because all this was illegal. I was being punished unjustly. I was given more points than was allowed. I was unfairly muted twice. I was threatened illegally, and every single bit of it was illegal. I had every right to do all this, by the way. I literally, like, I didn't check the rules right then. I was under the impression that, oh, this is dumb stuff, and I'm just being, like, I just assumed it was unjust, not like, oh, I'm just, like, casually, like, I don't really care for the rules, but I didn't really look at them. And then I looked at them later, and I realized all of what I had done was completely illegal. And I was like, then I got even more ticked off. But I came back next day, and then I proceeded to report DeSweeney for multiple things, ranging from slurs, threatening, and discrimination. But I think those were all. I think there's another thing I reported him for. What was that other part? Did I report him for racism or something? Yeah. What did I report him for? No, it wasn't actually being racist, though. No, that was an art. I'm sorry, I have bad memory. I don't know. I remember slurs, which was an incorrect one. I didn't really realize that until later, and I was like, hold up, this is serious stuff. Like, I don't know if what he said should be considered a religious slur to me, because on one hand, there are definitely some people out there who think that that particular word is an unforgivable sin to say, the way people say it in this server. I don't really hold that belief. I would personally rather die 100 times than say it. But I don't really know. So I don't really know if I can just say, oh, this thing's a slur. And even if it is a slur against my religion, it's not like I can punish anyone for that. Like, he wouldn't know. It's unfair. So obviously that's off the count. That's why I took it off the count. So I probably should get points for that, to be honest. That was definitely, like, illegal right there. That wasn't fair. But and obviously I'm not gonna say the word because I consider it like taboo to say it. There's no good reason to say it. I don't want to say it. It's just like, there's no good reason to say it, but people just are conditioned to like not really caring about saying a lot of things. But obviously I wouldn't say it over my dead body. So, you know, I have very strong counter opinions to saying that. But anyways, that obviously that one's down. I also accused him of discrimination because ever since I said my views on gay ideology, he's hated me ever since. He said, he's also said that he hates me, which, I mean, to be honest, like, what else? Like, that's already a level of hatred to, like, combine with that. I think that's already a charge of discrimination. Like, come on, people. Like, what the frick are we doing here? Does no one remember this other than me? I don't believe I actually have any proof of this beyond, like, I don't even think I took a screenshot of it. In hindsight, I should be taking screenshots of a lot of the things people say on here, because at this point, like, they say so much bad stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, when did we say this? It's mostly me and Sweeney going back and forth. He said some crazy stuff before. Like, he actually said he hates trans people. Like, he actually said that. I'm not joking around. I can't prove it, but he did say that. Which, I mean, according to the rules, that would definitely be discrimination as well. So, I mean, if we're going to keep it the way we're saying it's kept, because I got 30 of the 70 points removed. I still have 40 points on me now. But according to the way I was judged for having discrimination, he would also be under discrimination for saying this. Although, actually, this was months ago, so I don't think we can really charge him with that either, which is kind of, annoying. So, actually, maybe this man is clean, except for threatening me, which was illegal, and he definitely should get the 50 points for that. That's the charge for threatening people. It's not a warning. It was illegal. Therefore, it's a threat. Clear threat. He also threatened to not unmute. He threatened to demod anyone who unmuted me. That's actually 2 charges of threatening. That's enough to get him punished. Then he also proceeded to threaten me with a ban, which is unprecedented for talking, by the way, unless I said something like a slur. Like, that's the only time that it would be, like, precedented for me to get banned as the punishment. So he unprecedentedly threatened me with a ban if I kept this up. By the way, the stuff he was relating to, like, oh, he did the same stuff in Season 2 and all that kind of stuff, that was months ago, by the way. You really want to bring up you want to bring up the old thing you said about trans people? I know we don't have any trans people on the server, but I seriously doubt they would enjoy you saying that. But obviously we can't really bring that up. If that's the reason why I'm supposedly getting I would supposedly be getting banned, like, we would also have to bring that up, which, all this combined, I believe these 3 threats bring it up to 150, plus the discrimination against me for my beliefs, which has been constant, and against trans people. Well, not trans people, but the trans belief, because we're doing that apparently, would be a combined 230 points. Double over to get him punished. So you would think that, like, with already enough charges here right now to quite literally give him 2 punishments over, or at the bare minimum 1. My request, which was that he be demodded, I wanted him demodded permanently because of the way he treated me, because after everyone started getting into this discussion and I reported him, a huge tide of support came in for me, and I actually have the majority on the server on my side. I don't think I have their support anymore. They just want me to end it. I'm not satisfied, though. I am absolutely ticked off that Sweeney can treat me like garbage, discriminate against me openly for months, and no one cares, no one notices. I've been treated by trash like him constantly. It's so annoying that no one remembers or cares. And I know I obviously can't really prove a lot of this, but the fact that he lashed out like this is kind of discriminatory, I think, on its own. I simply talked about my beliefs, which were allowed, and they proceeded to illegally attack me. I'm not really going to talk that much about him discriminating against me, because I know that regardless of what I say, he's not going to get charged with discrimination. Are you kidding me? He's the head mod. Our mod team doesn't have the guts to do it. Now, I heavily stand on principles. I would sacrifice my life for a lot of my principles. So to me, getting banned off the server or demodded literally means like nothing. Because I heavily stand on my principles. Like, principles are life and death to me. They are who I am. Well, kind of. I mean, basically they are. So I would absolutely, if I were in the mod position and this happened to someone, to some random member, let's say for instance, who can we choose? What if Zav were to say something like, actually no, not Zav. Zav wouldn't say anything offensive, would he? What if? Well, how about what if the roles were reversed? What if someone were? What if someone were to say, perhaps that all religions were a cult? You know, something offensive to every religion. Oh wait, Death Note did that. Just saying that right there. But let's say he actually got charged for that or something, even though he proved it to be true according to definitions. But let's say he did get charged for that, because we're just giving examples here. Since he proved that he's right according to current definitions, basically every religion is a cult now, I guess. Not every of them, not all of them, but like a whole bunch of them are. But anyways, since he proved his point to be true, even though he used plenty of manipulative arguments, and basically got me to shut up at one point, and then would not stop talking at one point, saying I was using manipulative arguments, despite me not using manipulative arguments. I kid you not, the people here, since they can't beat me in like study and knowledge, they have to beat me using dirty tactics, which really makes me mad, but it's a smart thing to do, but it still makes me angry. But Death Note used dirty tactics to win the debate. I'm kind of angry at him for it, but that's just me holding a grudge. I shouldn't do that. I'm only human though, so I'm bad at some things. I'm very bad at some things. Not a very good Christian, to be honest. But anyways, to continue, I've used that too many times probably. Where was I? Give me a second. I gotta get rid of the stupid zombie. Excuse me. Yep, that's right, zombie. Get in that freaking chair. Now, where was I? Okay, well, anyways. Obviously, since he proved his point, even though it's an offensive point, he should be punished if he's right. Why would we do that? Why do we do this kind of stuff? Why do we punish people for saying facts? Or, like, I guess I kind of like, I do say evidence and stuff. Why do we punish people for that? Huh? Hello? No one should be punished for stating facts. I'm kind of really angry about that. But, anyways, obviously, he's in the right, so we shouldn't punish him. But, oh, wait, that's discrimination. Never mind. Let's punish the guy saying the truth. Let's do that. Let's give him 40 points. That's basically, if the Sweeney went for that, I honestly think everyone else, or like half the council, would follow. Although in this situation, since it's petty, I actually think that more like less than half the council would follow with him. And honestly, Sweeney is probably not that insane, but I think he's specifically prejudiced against me for what I said in Season 2. By the way, he's treating a 16-year-old like this, who's going through a lot of like difficult things, so obviously I don't really have time to think about all this stuff. I've got things to do. I'm in college. I'm a busy person. I'm going back and forth between like 3 different houses. Do you really think that everything I say should be held against me? Like, I got plenty of my own mental issues to handle. Like, leave me alone. Stop freaking you aren't even supposed to be the ones holding me accountable. Don't act like you don't say worse stuff. I'm kind of like I'm like really angry at the moderator team for being a bunch of pushovers, cowards, supporting this guy. Like, I got 40 points for doing legal things, and Sweeney, who threatened me illegally 3 times, well, actually threatened me illegally twice, then proceeded to threaten me, well, not threaten me, but threaten other mods illegally once. That's 150 points on his head. In addition, Z also threatened me, so I want 50 points on his head as well for doing that illegally. You want to put rules on, you put them in your own actual Discord rules tab. Don't expect me to know things that aren't there on the writing. You can't freaking punish me for something that isn't in the rules. If I don't have every single point from, I'm done with playing games. I want every point taken off my head, or I will declare war on this freaking server. I will be an absolute menace to all of you. All of you that are being cowards, that won't actually stand for something. Like, what are we doing here? If you can't protect your own freaking members, you aren't worth staying with. If I were in the middle of an arc right now, in the middle of my own plans, and if I didn't care about a lot of you so much, I would straight up just quit right now. Because this, if it weren't for some of the wonderful members of this server, I think that this wouldn't be a worthwhile experience. The moderator team sucks. But if you can't even punish your leader, if you can't hold your leader accountable for doing wrong things, then you don't deserve to be in power. He doesn't deserve to be in power. None of you deserve to be in power. I want Sweeney out of head mod position. I've stated clearly here, he's gathered enough charges to be punished. I want him to be removed from head mod. Okay, so let's circle back and prove my innocence completely here. So, as you can see here in this discrimination clause, discrimination is only allowed against, not allowed against singular persons. You aren't allowed to discriminate against singular persons because of their beliefs and stuff. I'm not in violation for that, so yeah, get rid of those 40 discrimination points. You better freaking do that. And then let's look at the other thing I'm accused of, but the court ruled against that. Being political and all that stuff, I'm talking about IRL politics, because apparently, according to this Google search right here, well, according to the Google AI, as we all know, the most trustworthy AI ever, says that it is. I don't really care what the AI says, because I'm the one who defines that, not Google. And according to my own personal beliefs, my religious beliefs and my political beliefs, while to some degree connected, are different and separate to some degree. They aren't the same things. So that's gone right there. In addition, while I will admit that I am guilty of one wrongdoing, I accused Sweeney of slurs against my religion. This is because the word that I accused him of is so offensive to my religion. Not really just to my religion, but it's literally considered offensive enough to potentially get someone sent to hell for eternity. Now, I don't know if hell really is eternal. I haven't really studied on this like I should have. I've been quite busy, and I've heard some counter-arguments to it. I've heard arguments back and forth, but either way, this is something that could potentially get you sent to hell for saying that. But this is why I accused him of saying a slur, because I considered it to be worse than a slur. However, the reason why I backed down on this was partially because he made it sound bad, and in addition, since most people don't consider it a slur, I decided to just give up on that part. So maybe I deserve some points for that, but considering the way, I don't really think I deserve points for that. Because, for one thing, I don't freaking know, man. I don't know these things. Okay, I'm not clinically... Actually, I kind of am chronically online, but I'm not as chronically online as some of you. I don't spend all my time in some places. I'll just say it. I like to spend time in places that I consider more civil. I just think that some of you guys spend time in rather what I would consider uncivilized areas, because you seem to know an awful lot of weird things. I am kind of like completely insulting the entire server for their online practices. But like, I mean, I don't think some of you have the best online practices. But regardless of your online practices, I just don't spend that much time talking about slurs and stuff because I don't care that much. Like the slurs are obviously wrong things to say. So just don't say them. That's what I see it as. They're incredibly offensive words. Don't say them. And that's like the end of it. I don't study slurs. Like, bruh. I only know a handful of slurs from like big controversies and stuff. I don't study the stupid things because I know I'm not the kind of person that's gonna start saying slurs all the time. But anyways, let's continue. So yeah, there's that point done. The next thing I got to talk about is actually we're gonna go on the offensive here because we have some serious charges against Sweeney. Let's talk about the single count of discrimination for a while ago I said some rather controversial things. Sweeney has okay, well I'll say what they are. I said that I believed that being gay was a mental illness. That's what I said. I got into a lot of trouble for that. Surprisingly, though, I wasn't going to get banned, which is very odd. You would think that if it was so offensive, I would get banned for it, but apparently I only got some serious points for it. I guess that's how Crust managed to stay in the server for so long. But anyways, I said that, and he has never forgiven me, even though I changed. He doesn't believe I've changed either, but he's continuous. But whether I have or haven't, I apologized, and he's continued to discriminate me for my supposed beliefs ever since. Therefore, that's one count of discrimination. It's been continuous. I think this whole entire thing has been a result of discrimination. In fact, his personal DMs to me actually prove that he's still bitter about this. He's still discriminating against me because of this. So he is guilty of discrimination against a specific individual, being me. Unlike me, who is not guilty of discriminating against a single person, but rather against a specific belief, which is allowed. In addition, he has also illegally threatened to ban me, which is unprecedented, considering what I was saying here was not even an ounce as offensive. He acted as if I had said something similar. If I had said, oh, well, he acted as if I said gay people should, I don't know, like gay people should be locked up or something. He acted like I said something incredibly offensive. And he said, if you dare insult Zion's religious beliefs, I will not hesitate to ban you. One thing I must say here is that he cannot ban me for insulting Zion. Even if I had directly insulted Zion's religious beliefs, he cannot legally ban me under the current rules for saying that. I would not do that, though. I wouldn't insult Zion's religious beliefs because Zion's not a mean person. He's nice. Also, I'm not gonna just insult someone's beliefs on purpose. Who do you think I am? A complete jerk? But yeah, he threatened to ban me for, if I continue. He didn't even threaten to ban me for that. He threatened to, he did threaten me to ban me for that, which is also illegal. So actually, that's 3 counts of threatening me specifically. He threatened to ban me illegally if I continued insulting if I insulted Zion's religion. He threatened to ban me if I continued talking about other if I continued the topic, which is also illegal. He also illegally threatened to give me points, which he called it a warning. But it was a legal warning, therefore it's a threat. So that's another count of threatening. In addition, he also threatened other mods illegally he said that if they unmuted me, which I had been muted illegally, he would unmod them. Which I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the authority to do. We elected these people, so so by doing this, he's undermining our own authority. So he's straight up being a tyrant here. This is this really reveals. I didn't really think about this. I thought Sweeney wasn't just a meanie, a mean guy. But now that I think about it, this is tyranny. This is bad stuff. He can't be allowed to continue like this, okay? So yeah, let's count that up here. That's 200 points for threats alone. So 240 points completed. That's enough to get him punished twice over. So I recommend he either be permanently banned from head mod and just made a normal mod, or he be completely removed as a mod entirely. But it only be temporary. Maybe he deserves to get banned. Maybe he does. I don't really want him to get banned because I kind of want him to get humiliated instead of removed entirely. And B, I want him to learn from his mistakes. I don't want him to have no chance at redemption, okay? I don't care if he hasn't forgiven me and that stuff. I want him to have a chance at forgiveness. Obviously, I can't influence that decision. If all of a sudden all of you decide, oh well, let's go ban Sweeney. Yeah, it's not like we haven't been supporting him this whole time. Like, yeah, let's go ban him. That's totally in character for us. But like, I don't want you to ban him. I just want him to be removed permanently from head mod or removed, temporarily from modding entirely. I personally recommend complete removal from head mod forever. I don't trust him with that rule anymore. But I do think maybe he shouldn't be mod, but I just think head mod as it is, I think he's earned that, to be honest. If he's on the same level as other mods, I know other mods can put him in check. So even if he goes back into power, since he's so popular and stuff, he has a chance at redemption, and he also can't abuse his power. So I think, personally, that my recommendation is he be permanently removed from head mod. That's my recommendation. And here's my demand. I demand the court remove all the points from my head for discrimination, as I have clearly proven here that I am not guilty of it, or not guilty of breaking the rules. In addition, I also demand that Sweeney face justice for his 200 points he's just racked up, as I've just shown. My estimates were very, in fact, nice. So I demand Sweeney be punished. I demand he be at least temporarily removed from head mod. Actually, no, I demand he be removed from head mod. He is clearly a threat to me, and unless he loses his overwhelming power, I will never be safe on this server. So you can either remove him from head mod, or I will do everything in my power to cause chaos. So you can either have a chaotic member who is sabotaging other people on the server constantly for fun. I will just disregard everyone else's content and just start doing my own thing on the server. I don't care. I will stop caring. I will do stupid things like cover the entire SMP in beetroot. I will just stop caring. I will blow things up for no reason. I will do fun things and just not care. Or you can treat me with respect. You can protect all of us from the potential abuse. Like, who knows? Maybe Sweeney actually is a terrible person, just is doing this for fun. I seriously doubt it. I don't think he's that bad of a person. But either way, he can't be trusted. He can't be trusted with head mod. So remove him, or else. But anyways, that's all I have for now. Thank all of you who have been nice to me, especially Zav and Death Note. I want to thank Death Note because he took my side. You took my side. Thank you very much. That is what you should have done, and I'm very glad you did. Apparently, none of you still knew the rules. I think it should be a requirement as a moderator to know the rules. The current rules, not the past ones. That should be a requirement from now on, by the way, guys. Why isn't it? That is absolutely absurd. But in addition, I also want to thank Zav. Zav immediately, as soon as I reported this, showed huge support for me. despite definitely the main source of my attack being because of the things I said, which were actually very hostile towards him back in Season 2. So I want to thank Zav for actually showing actual forgiveness and being immediately supportive. I was flabbergasted whenever you did that. I wouldn't have expected that. So I genuinely thank you so much. I am, astounded. I really, I don't even deserve that, to be honest. Thank you. And thank all of you who are watching, and thank all of the Soulforge members who've helped me. And, Lava, you've bent over backwards, honestly, in this to Sweeney. You haven't taken sides. There's a clear right side and wrong side. I know that you are strong, and I know that you probably have difficulty taking sides, because I can tell you're a pushover. But there's a time to be neutral, and there's a time to take sides. And as you can tell from all the stuff I've said here, there is clearly only one right side here. This isn't a nuanced topic. This is a clear show that DeSweeney is not only capable, but has indeed abused his power. He has done multiple illegal things, and yet he faces no punishment. This cannot be allowed, Lava. You need to step up. If you care about Soulforge, then do the right thing for it. Protect your people. That's really all I gotta say. Thank you for being somewhat supportive, though. As for all of you watching, thank you for watching this. That's all I have to say to you guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later, nerds.